Hello, 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 everyone. We are now live. Welcome to the IBO Summit week. I see a couple of you guys are already inside of here, but we just want to give it just a few moments just to be sure that everyone gets a chance to come in. Make sure if you can do me a favor, just go ahead and pop in the chat box that you can actually hear me. I want to be sure that you guys can just hear me just fine. So you guys are kind of coming in. Just make sure that you can hear me. Let me make sure that I am live in this group as well. You guys can hear me. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, I want to make sure that because we are streaming to a few different places. So I see you guys are watching. We have some people watching on YouTube, Facebook. But I do want to be sure that those that are inside the IBO Summit group, that you guys can actually see this live. So if you're in the IBO Summit group, the actual IBO Summit group, just let me know that you can see this live. For some reason, I don't see it yet. So I want to be sure that you guys can actually see it inside of that group. All right, good that you guys can hear me. We're going to get started in just a few moments here. If you guys are watching this live from the actual IBO Summit group, just let me know in the chat that you're watching in that particular group and that you can see it. Because my Facebook doesn't always update. Okay, someone said that they are in that group and they're there now. Okay, awesome. Now, the Facebook users, it doesn't always show your name, just depends on where you are. So the last person that said you're here, thanks for being here. It doesn't show exactly what your name is. So if you guys want to post your names, sometimes Facebook users don't always come up unless you have given Restream access to be able to see it. Okay. All right. So you guys are there inside of the group. Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me. We are actually going through and we are kicking off day one of the IBO Summit week. Okay, so I'm happy that you guys are all here and you're ready to get some information from all of our wonderful speakers that we have for this entire week. In case you're watching this and you haven't actually registered yet, you want to go ahead and register for this event. So if you're watching it on YouTube, you guys look at the captions and stuff for the YouTube. The link is on the YouTube. Feel free to still continue to watch it on YouTube, but I still want you to be inside of the group. The reason for that is because you'll be able to see all the presenters, with the exception, not just being able just to see mine, but in addition to, you'll get a chance to be able to win some prizes because we do have some grand prizes. We plan on doing some games and all of that. And so I want you to be able to participate in all of that goodness. And you can only do that if you're inside that particular Facebook group. Okay. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started with this. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Let me know in the chat, guys, that you can see my screen just fine. Just let me know that you can see my screen. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I see Mona, Javon, Ashley, Rakivia, Alana, Beverly, awesome, Sandra. Okay, awesome, awesome. Good morning to all of you guys. All right, just let me know in the chat that you could see my screen just fine. Okay, awesome. You guys can see my screen just fine. All right, so what we're going to talk about day one of IBO Summit Week. And just to let you know, in case you're not even sure what IBO Summit Week is, what it is basically Arise IBOs or potential Arise IBOs or people looking to become Arise IBOs are basically getting together with various speakers, and we're presenting different topics and information to help you launch your business on the right foot. Some of these topics that we're going to be talking about, you can really apply them to other businesses as well. So it doesn't just have to be an Arise IBO business. Okay, so kind of go in it and keep that in mind. Okay, so I see more of you guys are popping in. Awesome, awesome. All right, and then we're going to be doing networking. And again, we're going to be doing the games and the giveaways if you are inside the IBO Summit Facebook group. You can catch the replays just in case if you have to step out and you can't attend or stay for the full session. We're probably going to be here about 45 minutes. And I'm going to do some questions and answers at the end. But if you can't stay to the end, you are able to watch the replay of this session. The replay will be available on the YouTube channel. So it's going to be available at the Kaniqua J YouTube channel, which I have on the screen here. So if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to that channel, as I drop new videos every single Thursday regarding entrepreneurship and working from home. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. And today what we're gonna talk about is making the connection, gaining and retaining agents or even clients. All right, so just give you a little bit information about myself. My name is Kaniqua, just in case you do not already know me. I'm a mother of 2 girls, and I love working from home in my little part of the internet. I'm a serial entrepreneur who loves creating, designing, and sharing my knowledge to help other entrepreneurs achieve success in their businesses. I quit my 9-to-5 job back in 2015 to become a full-time entrepreneur and have the freedom of working on my own terms, spending more time with family and friends, and exploring my natural talents and earning more income without a ceiling. So in 2018, I created the IBO Knowledge as Well program because I'm passionate about helping entrepreneurs just like myself launch and grow their virtual call center businesses without all of the pitfalls. Because as you guys know, there's a lot of pitfalls when it comes to starting a business. So over the years, I learned that I love to teach, and even as an introvert, through our e-courses, online one-on-one consults, live training, etc., we were able to, at this point in time, help over 2,000 entrepreneurs start their businesses and earn income for their families. All right, so again, guys, welcome to IBO Summit Week. What I want you to do, I'm gonna go ahead and head on back. I want you to go through and introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know your name. Some of you guys' names do pop up, but go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from, what state you're from, if you're currently already in a Rise IBO, or you're just looking to get started into this business. Go ahead and let us know in the chat where you are watching from. Give you guys a few minutes to put those into the chat, and I am going to let a couple more people into the group. Okay, Mia says she's from Virginia and she's already in Rise IBO. Mia, what part of Virginia are you in? I'm in Virginia too. Shirley says that she's from Atlanta and she hasn't started her business yet, but she is looking to learn. Sandra's from Atlanta as well. We have Rakivia from Georgia. We have Sigrid. I apologize if I might have missaid that. Oh, she's from Alabama. You guys are posting a lot in the chat. Oh, you're in Norfolk, Virginia. Okay. All right. So you're not too far from me. I'm actually in like the Newport News, Hampton area. We have Alana, who is from McCain, Texas. Mona from Dallas, Texas. We have Ashley from Elizabeth City. We have Kara, she's from Atlanta. So we have a lot of Atlanta and Georgia, people in here right now. That is awesome. Awesome. Javon is also from Dallas, Texas. And she's been an IBO since 2017. Awesome. Okay. All right. And then let's see. We have Jeraine. She's from Furry, New Jersey. All right. Let me let a couple more people inside this group really quick. We have Preston also from Atlanta. You guys, there's a lot of you guys that are in Atlanta. I'm actually coming to Atlanta at the end of the month. I'll be in Atlanta for 4 or 5 days in Atlanta at the end of the month. All right. Let me get these people into the group real quick, guys. Rise of the week. All right. All right. So all the people that have been trying to get in, you guys are in here now. So you guys are really showing up live. We got about 36 people that are watching here live. So I know this isn't going to get up as we go along. So let me go ahead and get started. Appreciate you guys introducing yourself to everyone here. So welcome again. All right. So before we go ahead and get started, what I want you to do is go ahead and share this video. Go ahead, no matter where you're watching it, whether you're watching it on Facebook, YouTube, a group, go ahead and share it. If you're watching a group, you probably don't have the share option, but you can go ahead and like it and tag some of your business besties to make sure that they do tune in to the session. And then if you are an Arise IBO already and you're not already inside the Facebook group, go ahead and join the IBO Knowledge as Wealth Facebook group, where you can go through and connect with like-minded individuals. You can get support on your business and resources to help you launch and grow your business. And then lastly, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I did mention before, because I do post new videos every single Thursday. All right, so if you guys did register for this event, you would have gotten an email, and then we've been sending them out. They're posted inside the group. The IBO Summit workbook, it allows you to be able to go ahead and take notes each day during the sessions. Later today, we're going to have a replay of Melissa and I. We did a session on how she got to 160 plus service and agents. So that, if you want to write that down, that's going to be at 4 o'clock today. And then Daniel is going to come speak with you guys about equipment and everything you need in terms of equipment for your agents and for your company. So he'll be doing that later tonight at 7 o'clock. So you want to tune in for that too. And that will round out day number 1. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. So in today's agenda, what we're going to talk about is how to make the connections with your potential agents or your clients, how to become the go-to person for potential agents, and how to retain your agents and our clients. All right, so if you're just now getting started, maybe you might be watching this at this point in time and you're not sure exactly what Arise Virtual Solutions is, or you have not actually joined the platform. Just to kind of give you just a roundabout really quickly, Arise Virtual Solutions is pretty much like a middleman that helps connect entrepreneurs to Fortune 500 companies for them to be able to start virtual call center businesses, and in turn, they can recruit agents to work for their call centers. That way those agents can go through and work from home. So you can join the Arise platform 3 different ways. You can join by either becoming an Arise IBO, which stands for Independent Business Owner, and start your own business. The way you can get people to work with your call center company. You can join by being a sole proprietor, means that you just work by yourself. You don't have any really one to answer to, you just work by yourself. Or you could become a customer service professional and you can work for or with another Arise IBO. So you can learn more about getting started doing that at ariseworkfromhome.com. And you can use my referral code to say that you heard about it from me. All right, let me look at the chat here for you. Rakivia said you don't see my share. Does anybody else not see the screen? Does everyone else still see the screen? All right, you guys let me know in the chat. Can you guys actually see the screen? Cody says that he's in Richmond, Virginia. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so everyone else can see it. Rakivia, maybe try to, I'm not sure how you're viewing it, whether it's on your computer or if you're watching it from your phone, maybe try to log out and log back in, and maybe that would work. But it looks like everyone else can actually see the screen at this point. All right, awesome. All right, so going through and making connections, and this could go for, again, you can apply this particular concept to any type of business that you do. So whether or not you're trying to go through and gain more agents for your particular business, or you're trying to get clients for maybe a virtual assistant business, or adding additional services onto your call center business, there's pretty much a formula for doing this, right? Is understanding, number one, your ideal agent avatar. Who is the person that you would like to work for you? Who would be that ideal candidate? If you had to come up with this ideal, perfect person that you would like to work with, who would that person be? You would take that plus making connections. How is it that you're going to make connections with this particular ideal agent or these particular ideal agents, right? So going through and making the connection, that is going to equal servicing agents. The major question here is, well, it's really two of major questions. Number one is, who is your ideal agent? Coming up with this niche is going to be very important where you're talking about making connections to potential agents in your business. But we're going to talk about at this point, we're going to talk about how are you going to go through and make connections so you can fill in that blank to be able to get servicing agents. So as I just mentioned before, we want to be sure that we break down and come up with a niche. Okay, so what is a niche? A niche is a subset of individuals that really fit within your idea of who it is that you want to work with. This can be for having customer service agents. This can also be for clients in general, okay? So who is it that you actually resonate with? Who are you speaking to when you're going through and you're doing your marketing? Because one thing about it is when you're going through and you're doing your marketing, and this could be for, again, any type of business, but when you go through and do your marketing, you want to be sure that you know who that person is that you're speaking to, because number one, it's going to save you money. It's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to save you money because if you're speaking to one subset of individuals, you can put all your eggs into that, right? You can put all of your eggs into that basket of who it is that you're speaking to versus trying to speak with everyone. If you're trying to speak to everyone, then you're speaking to no one, because everyone is not going to be able to make connections with you. Everyone is not going to resonate with you and hear or understand where you're coming from, where your content that you're posting on social media, etc. So you want to be sure that you go through and really think about creating an ideal agent avatar. So when you're thinking about that, there's a couple things that you can ask yourself and you can think about. One of those things is, who is your target audience? Who is it that you're trying to target? Personally, for me, when I'm going through and I'm doing my marketing, I like to target women. Why? Because I'm a woman. I'm a mother. So mothers would also be someone that I would like to go through and target in my business, because why? We have things in common. We can relate. I understand their pain points. I understand the things that mothers go through when they're trying to go through and work from home and trying to work around their kids' schedules and all of this other stuff I can relate to because I am a mother. So how are you able to relate to your potential agent that you are going through and speaking to? What benefit is your company to them? How can you actually go through and solve their problem? When you're going through and you're doing your marketing, it's very important that you let people know how exactly it is that you can benefit them. Why should they work for you versus working for someone else? But only how you can understand the benefits that you are to your potential client or your potential agent is, number one, understanding them. You have to know who they are in order for you to be able to know how you can benefit them. The next thing would be that you would ask yourself is, where do they hang out? So if you're going through, and a lot of times I see the questions about, how do I find agents? Where do I market? A lot of times, if you ask yourself, again, who your person is that you are looking for, a lot of the times you will be able to go through and understand exactly who it is, where they hang out. Let me turn this part off. Where they actually go through and hang out. All right, I'm looking at the chat. I went back and look at the chat for you guys and make sure you guys are okay. Okay. All right. You guys are fine. I'm looking at the chat. Okay. So yeah. So you want to be sure that you understand where they hang out. So if you're, for example, is your target audience going to be mothers, right? If your target audience is going to be moms, where are they hanging out? They're going to be in the, if you're going on Facebook, they're going to be in the Facebook mom groups. They're going to be at parks. They're going to be at daycare events. They're going to be at those type of events. So that is where you should be. If that's what your marketing is, if that's where who your ideal agents are, that is where you should actually be. If your ideal agents, like for example, I go through and I also market to college students, right? Because I feel like college students are a perfect person to be able to work from home, typically because they can do it on their own time and they can do it around their school schedule. Perfect person, right? Where are they hanging out? Can you actually get in contact with colleges? Yeah, you can. I do it all the time. So you have to be able to go where they are hanging out. But how would you be able to do that if you don't know who they are? Okay. So you want to be sure that you are really clear on the person or persons that you are looking to work with. What is their why? Why is it that they want to work from home in general? Why is it? Is it because they're a mom and maybe or a single parent and they need to make a little bit more extra money to be able to maybe pay their bills? Or maybe they want to make extra money because they want to retire early, or they want to be able to put themselves through school. Or maybe they just don't have transportation in general. And this whole COVID thing, they rather just stay at home. You have to understand their why. And once you understand their why, you can speak directly to them. So when you're going through, and I see this a lot when we are trying to market our services on social media, right? We're going through and we're offering our services on social media. And sometimes I see on certain pages where it's ad, right? A whole bunch of ads that say, hey, we're hiring. But why should I stop? Why should I stop the scroll to look at your ad to see if you're hiring? Are you really talking to me? You're just telling me that, you have some type of customer service position and I could work from home, but why should I work for you? Or what's going to make me connect with you versus connecting with anyone else? A lot of times we believe that we have to go through and have hundreds upon hundreds of agents in order to be able to be successful, but we really don't. We really don't. You can really be successful doing 25, 30, 40 agents, right? But it's about making those connections with those individuals that's going to keep those individuals around. Making connections is what's going to draw people into you. People like to work with people that they like, they know, and they trust. But how can you do that if we don't know exactly who it is that we're trying to connect with and who we're trying to even get to like us? Even thinking about education level could be something when you're trying to kind of come up with your ideal agent avatar could be important depending on what your niche is going to be. Are they married? Are they single? Do they have kids? All of these things are important when you're thinking about creating your agent avatar and who it is that you want to work with. All right, so go ahead and post to me. We're going to go on to number 2 of this, but go ahead and post for me in the chat. Make sure you guys are still with me. Go ahead and post in the chat for me. If you've already created your niche, you've already niched down, you know exactly who it is that you are looking for, you want to work with, go ahead and post into the chat and just say, I do. Go ahead and post that into the chat for me. And guess what? If you don't, that's fine. And just keep in mind too, that you do not have to niche completely all the way down. Okay, so I see a couple I do's. I have Shirley. There's a lot of you guys coming in. Ashley, Wilda, Tanisha, Design Your Life on YouTube. Mia, great. So I'm happy that you pressed it. I'm so happy that you guys have decided on this niche, right? On a niche. But just keep in mind too, that you don't have to just say, okay, I'm only going to work with one niche, right? I don't necessarily say that you have to work with one niche because there is a lot of people that can benefit from the work that we do, right? No problem, Kathy. You're still working it out. That is totally fine because eventually what's going to happen is you're going to start to realize as time goes by who exactly your niche is. And a lot of times, sometimes it might just choose you. when you start getting agents working, you might just start seeing a common theme. Like for myself, even when I first started my business, I didn't necessarily have a niche, but what I noticed was I don't have but a whole bunch of women on my roster. I can probably count, and I could say you guys, and I have hundreds upon hundreds of people on my roster, and I could probably count on two hands how many men I have on my roster. So sometimes it might just choose you, you know? So if you're still working it out, no worries, no worries, no worries. Now, you don't necessarily have to have just one niche, okay? So I want you guys to understand that too. You don't have to have just one niche. But when you're going through and you're doing your marketing, I want you to kind of think about in your mind doing different marketing for different niches. Because the same way that you're talking to a mother is not the same way that you're talking to a college student that does not have any kids. So when you're creating posts, I want you to start going through when you're doing your marketing. I want you to start talking directly to that particular niche that you're talking to. Okay. So if you're talking to mothers, I want you to call them out. Hey, mothers, this is a really good job opportunity for you. Or this would be great for your kids, blah, blah, blah. You can work around your kid's schedule, boom, boom, boom. Or if you're doing something for college students, for example, this would be perfect for you if you're a college student, so you can work around your school schedule. I want you to be able to call them out, who exactly it is that you're working with or trying to work with. All right. So we're going to go on to number 2, solving a problem. Okay. Now, it's very important to be able to solve a problem and understand that in this business, you are just not running a virtual call center business just to be able to make money, that you are actually solving a problem. I want you to understand that you are solving a problem. I want you to go into this knowing that you are solving a problem. I want you to understand what that problem is. So again, what are your agents' pain points? Their pain points is the problem. You must come up with a solution to that problem. If a person is saying that, hey, I see a lot of times when I'm going inside groups, like when I'm going in like employment groups, and I see it constantly on posts that are saying, I just need somewhere to work. My kids, and I'm gonna keep using the kids example because that is one of the major problems that I see a lot. But I just need something. I just needed some type of part-time job. I need something that, you know, I could do like around my kids, because my kids, when they get out of school, I can't go to work at XYZ because of this. That's a problem. And when you're going through and you are addressing, so when you're going through and let's say you were to see that particular person post that on social media, I want you to address their problem. A lot of the times when I go through Facebook groups and I see similar posts just like that, and they're like, where are some work from home jobs? They stated their problem and they asked, where are some work from home jobs? You know what I see a lot of times, guys? I see a whole bunch of links. I see a lot of people just dropping links. But you know what helps you stand out in those particular situations? Addressing the problem. They told you what the problem was, acknowledge that they have a problem, and let them know how you can solve that problem. This is a technique that I do all the time. And I can simply go through and post just addressing, commenting on exactly what that person said, how I can help them. And hey, if you're interested, I have some call center opportunities that are available. If you're interested, go ahead and apply on the website. That one post, by the end of the day, may give me 40, 50 applications. Why? Because I addressed the problem. I stood out past all of the links. So let's take our time when we're going through and we're recruiting. Let's take our time to actually make connections versus just getting a whole bunch of people. Because we all know that it's very easy to get hundreds upon hundreds of people on our company roster, but hundreds of people are not always going to work unless we start doing what? Unless we start making connections with individuals, make them like you, make them want to work for you. That's right, Cody. Describe the problem and tell them how and what you can do to solve it. You can do this in almost any business. This is how any business is almost ran. Whether it's a virtual call center business, whether you're trying to be a virtual assistant, I've seen a couple of posts that we talked about adding on additional revenue to your business. Let me tell you how you can do that is by solving a problem. It's really just that simple. Finding a problem and being able to solve it. If you can solve problems, you will always be in business. All right, let people know what resources and tools you can provide to make the process simpler for them, much easier for them. Why should they go to your call center versus going to another call center? What makes you better? You want to be sure that you start to get that confidence about yourself to understand that not necessarily that you are better than anyone else, but you know what your worth is and you know what you offer. And at the end of the day, if someone decides to say, hey, I don't want to work with you, I want to work with this particular call center, it's perfectly fine because you're going to do what? You're going to keep moving forward. A lot of the times we go through and we get discouraged about not being able to get agents, not being able to get agents working. But if this is something that you want to do, you have to understand that you have to keep moving forward. No matter what, we have to keep moving forward because I can guarantee you there are hundreds of people that want to work with you. You just haven't found them yet. Okay, there are hundreds of people that want to work with you. You just have not found them yet. You haven't made those connections with them yet, but it does not mean that they are not out there. All right, guys, moving on to number 3 is going to be the wow factor. And this is really what I was going into just then, is what makes you different than anyone else. And it doesn't have to be something so extreme, like you have to be, it doesn't have to be, but you have to, again, have that confidence. I would recommend too is providing exceptional agent or customer experience. How are you doing that? Because I feel like in our business, customer service is what we do. We hire these agents to be able to go through and provide customer service to some of our clients, but yet sometimes we lack customer service ourselves. We can't do that. We expect agents to go through and to have good calls and do good customer, get high commitment adherence, but yet we lack that ourselves. We must go through and be accountable for the customer service that we are providing our agents. When we have potential agents that are reaching out to us, good customer service is for us to respond back to them in a timely manner. Whether it's by email, whether it's by phone, that is providing good customer service. We can't expect those people to come along and to treat us differently or want to work with us if we can't provide them with exceptional customer service, and then in turn expect for them to provide customer service to our clients. So that is going to be something that's going to make you go through and to stand out. Provide exceptional customer service. Typically what I do, and this is just for me personally, but even when it comes to answering emails, okay, a lot of the inquiries that we're going to get is going to be via email. You're going to have your agents, potential agents, they're going to be contacting you via email majority of the time to ask a question or to get help or whatever it is. But when they reach out to you, let's not just answer the question. Okay. So let's say, for example, if someone says, am I able to use Wi-Fi? Right? Well, that's a simple no question, right? It's no. The answer is no. But do we have to answer the email and just say no? Right? No, we don't. Let's add a little bit to you. Let's add a little bit of spice to that email, right? Let's greet that person and say, good afternoon, a good morning, whatever their name is. Then say, unfortunately, no, you're not able to use Wi-Fi. It's the same answer, isn't it? It just took you a couple more seconds just to provide a little bit more customer service than just saying no. I've gotten personally emails before that have just like, no, you can't do that. Okay, thanks. And what does that make the person do? Like, okay, well, wow. I mean, she didn't even give me any other suggestions, or she sounded like maybe she was upset. You never know. The tone of voice of your emails goes a long way, because majority of the time, that's all that we have. Our tone of our emails is basically all that we have a lot of times. It's very rare that we get a chance to speak to most of our recruits or our agents on the telephone majority of the time. So the tone of your email, that even goes into being as personable as possible. Show that you care. Okay. When you're trying to go through and not only gain agents, but in order to be able to retain agents, you must show that you care. What do I mean by that? I mean that if someone tells you something happened to them, they are people, and let's show them that we care and treat them like people. I've had people on my roster that have gone through and maybe someone's passed away, or maybe they may even be ill. In those particular situations, let's be sure that not only do we address this inside of an email, sometimes we can take it a step further by sending them a card in the mail. They're not expecting to get a card in the mail. But guess what? It's more if you go through and you provide that personal touch to actually show that I care. I actually went to the store to pick you out a card and to put that stamp on it and take it to the mailbox. I did that because I actually do care about your situation. And you'll see that over time, these agents will more likely want to stay with you. And not only will they want to stay with you, they're going to refer people to you, right? They're going to refer people to you. And when they go through and refer people to you, what does that do? That saves you some time and it saves you some money, because now you're going and you're getting agents off of just pure referral. All because you went the extra mile. That may seem, it doesn't even seem like a lot, and it's not a lot. It's just going through and showing that you care and just going and taking the extra step. So when you're wanting to go through and you want to grow your call center, you want to know how you can gain more agents, how can I retain all these people? Yes, a call center in general is a revolving door. Okay, I worked at a call center for 13 years. It is a revolving door. I've seen people come in, come out. Not everybody likes to do this. And even with this virtual call center business, it's the same thing. People will go, people will come, people will get sick, people will leave, people will come back. But you will have those agents that will continue to stay with you if you show them little things. Go a little bit up and beyond. I'm not saying going through and just, hey, I'm just going to talk to every single agent on the phone and I'm going to walk every agent through registration. I'm not saying that you have to do all of that and spend a tremendous amount of time. But I am saying doing those particular things do go a long way. The last thing is going through and providing some type of incentives and giveaways to your hardworking agents. Let them know, again, that you care. Provide them with some type of incentive. Sometimes what I like to do is I even like to go through and do like contest where it's like, okay, well, whoever has the highest commitment adherence for the month of June gets a $25 gift card, or something like along those lines. Typically they're gift cards because they're really easy to do. I could go on Walmart and send them out a gift card, but make it fun for them. But also to keeping it where their commitment adherence is good, or you choose a certain amount of hours and we're doing again a contest or an incentive, or we're adding on some type of bonus or something like that. Do that, because again, that type of stuff will go a long way. All right, so I just want to make sure that you guys are still with me. We have a couple more slides, but I want to make sure that you guys are still in me. I'm happy that you guys are coming through. Looks like we got about 63 people in here right now, so that is awesome. In case you tuning in and you come in from the replay, if you come in for the replay, just hashtag replay and let us know that you're here or that you got a chance to watch it as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and finish this up. I want to make sure, looking at this chat here for you. All right, awesome. All right, Javon says all ears. All right, awesome. All right, so again, we're talking about making the connection. All right, so attend. This is a couple of ways, and this is solely based off of making connections, okay? Because there's many different ways that you can go through and market your business, but these are a few ways about how you can really make the connection with potential agents. Is number one, attend events and places where your ideal agent hangs out. So if you know who your ideal agent is, you should be there. If there is a local event that you can attend and they're there, go, bring your business cards, bring something, a brochure, whatever type of documentation that you have, bring it with you and make those connections with those people. Now, I do want to say, because I know that everybody is not extroverted. I'm not extroverted. I'm not the person that's going to go to a local event and just start handing out business cards. That's not really my jam. I'm not going to do that. So you want to be sure that whatever it is that you do, of course, that you're comfortable enough with doing it, or you may come to a point that you're going to step outside your comfort zone and maybe you'll do it that way. But that is one way. So I'm not saying that you have to just go out there and just start being everybody's faces and start giving out business cards and stuff. If you're comfortable with doing it, go ahead and do it. If you want to step out of your comfort zone and do it, go ahead and do it. It will only benefit you, especially if you're in the place of where your ideal agent hangs out. You can interact with your ideal agents or clients on social media. More so about how I go about it, because I can do it from the computer or from my phone. So interacting with them on social media, responding to their pain points, looking for these people. I personally look for agents all the time. I mark it out on my calendar. I have a Google Calendar. You guys probably know, you've probably seen videos or heard me say this before, that I go through and I mark out time of when I'm going to go through and market. So I might say on Wednesdays from 10 to 12, I'm going to market my business. And it's solely me, like either jumping on social media. I may actually go somewhere to be able to market to people in terms of, and that's mostly like one-on-one clients, not necessarily for agents, but still I'm marking out time for me to be able to go through and market my business. And I'm solely focused on doing that. I'm looking for particular types of people. Providing tips and value on a consistent basis. Okay. So if you're going through, I know most of you guys probably do have Facebook business pages. Go ahead and drop for me in the chat. If you guys have a Facebook business page already and you've been using it, well, not even saying if you've been using it on a consistent basis, let me know in the chat if you guys have a Facebook business page. If you have a Facebook business page. Because if you have a Facebook business page, that is a great way for you to go ahead and continue to provide tips and then be able to do it on a consistent basis, right? Because if you have a Facebook business page, hopefully you're going through and you're able to post. You're able to go through and post on a consistent basis. Okay. You're able to go through and post on a consistent basis and provide valuable content. And what do I mean by valuable content? Share some tips. Share a couple reasons why people want to work from home. Share equipment. Share what type of equipment you use. You'll be surprised at how many people want to know what you actually use. Now, do they need to know what you use? No, they don't need to know what you use. They don't need to get what you use. But people sometimes want to know, well, what system are you using? Because sometimes if a person's been following you for a while or they've been interacting with your content for a while, sometimes it's just easier for people just to get what you got. And I do that all the time. Like if I see somebody and I'm like, okay, I need another camera. What is this person using? If I see that quality of that camera is pretty good, let me just go ahead and get that camera that person has versus me trying to figure out which camera is going to be the best one. All right. So a lot of you guys, great, have a business Facebook page. And if you're not sure or you don't have one at this point in time, I would recommend setting up one because I feel like Facebook is a really, really, really good way to connect with individuals that are looking and working, that want to work from home. Because besides any other platform, Facebook has something that I really, really love, which is Facebook groups. Okay. You can have Facebook groups. You'll have like-minded people in Facebook groups. So there are employment groups, which you guys should be in employment groups. Of course, you want to be sure that you read the group rules and stuff like that before you post on them. But being in those type of groups are going to be essential to your business. When I first started my business, I got all of my people straight out of Facebook groups. All of them. I didn't do any type of marketing. I didn't pay for marketing at all. Zero. I got all of my people out of Facebook groups, making connections through Facebook groups, posting, but not only just posting, going through and answering questions and trying to make connections with people. That's what I did. Solely what I did. Mostly what I do now. But I do other ways as well too. But again, that's how you could do it. Okay, looking at those comments. Okay. All right. Again, I said join Facebook groups. We already went over that. And hosting webinars and information sessions. Again, something that you can use pretty much for free. Offer to do information sessions. Offer for people to come into a Zoom room with you and tell them about the opportunity and let them decide from there of whether or not they want to do it. Record an information session and post it on your social media. Post it on your website so people could go back and view it. Post it on YouTube so people can go and see that information. Or you can even do it on your Facebook business page or even on your personal page as well. You could go through there and you can do and make connections with people. Try Integrity says your Zoom hiring bit didn't go well. That's okay. That's okay. Trust me, we have all been there. We have all been there. I've done events before where no one has shown up. Not a single soul has shown up. And that's okay. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to get up and you're going to do it again. You're going to offer it again because maybe the time that you did, maybe people couldn't meet the time that you wanted to do, or maybe next time, maybe you need to go through and record it. If you're not finding people that are coming to your actual Zoom room, or maybe it could be something as simple as reminders, because that's what I had to do even when I was doing Zoom rooms and stuff like that, is doing reminders. I use Acuity. And through Acuity, now people get 3 reminders and a text message, all automatically done through Acuity. What did that do? That actually helped more people come because they were getting that reminders. Saying that they forgot didn't really work too much. Sabrina says she practiced to an empty room. Yeah, go ahead and practice. And while you're in there, just go ahead and record. Go ahead and practice your speech. Go ahead and record it and use it. All right, so we are done here, and I'm going to go ahead and take some questions from you guys really quickly for a few minutes. Again, this is the information. You guys can go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed, again, because I do drop new videos every single Thursday, business related. If you're in a Rise IBO, you do have to be in a Rise IBO in order to be able to join the group, but that is the link to the Facebook group as well, and to the website. So I am going to go ahead and bring this back so we could go ahead and take some questions. What questions do you guys have about what we talked about today? Go ahead and drop some of your questions and we can answer those for about 10-15 minutes here. And I'm going to try to pull them up and answer them for you. Yeah, Victoria, I would recommend going through and having some type of scheduler system, whether it is Calendly, Acuity, Setmore. Definitely go through and get some type of scheduler system. I don't do any type of meetings or anything without having it up on the scheduler. All right, so I'll bring this question up here that we do have. Tritegrity says, my main question, is there enough hours for agents? For the most part, it depends on the type of client program that your agents or you are actually servicing. Some client programs have more hours than others. I know with like the theme park clients, I know when I was personally serving those, and I was serving like a little small niche of that, because they have different departments, it didn't have as many hours. But I do find personally that a lot of them do have a substantial amount of hours. But again, it does depend on the client program, and it does depend on their pre-select. So if you are having agents that are not meeting stats, they're not working, the commitment adherence is not all that well, their pre-select is not going to be good. And so they'll be kind of last on the list for getting hours. Question. The other events today, are those all in Eastern Standard Time? Yes, all of the events are in Eastern Standard Time. All right, so we have another Coach Tracy. How can we support agents who fail the program assessments? Only thing I could recommend with that is kind of just giving them some pointers in terms of how to pass the program assessments. So letting them know to kind of go through, take their time through the assessments, make sure they're in a quiet work environment, like they're quiet, they don't have any background noise and anything like that, that they're actually going through and concentrating on it. I would just provide them with a couple of tips. If they do fail it, let them know that they're not all the same. I mean, they pretty much have the same concept, but they're not exactly all the same. So if they do fail it, I would encourage them to try another client program, try it again. Samantha says you can always rewatch these lives. Yes, the lives, these particular lives. So my live. So that's a good question. So my lives will be on YouTube. Okay, so my lives, you can rewatch those on YouTube. All of the other presenters, you can watch those lives inside of the IBO Summit Week Facebook group. Okay, so the IBO Summit Week Facebook group. Those lives will be available at least until the, I think it's the 14th. Hold on one second, let me check. At least until like the 13th. So at least until Sunday, they'll at least be in there. After that, we're probably going to pull all of the recordings out of there. The respective presenters will pull their recordings out of there too. So at least until the end of the week. All right, so you have a potential CSP who can't seem to get in touch with their IBO to be released from their roster so that she may join mine. Any workaround? Unfortunately, there is no workaround. They would need to, they can try to contact support, but normally they don't get involved with any of that. So unfortunately, they would have to, try to get in contact with their IBO, or they would have to go through and start their own IBO business. Okay, design your life. You said, what lead page do I use? I'm not really too sure about that question that you asked. And just to let you guys know, it is on the screen as well. I'm going to continue answering a few questions that kind of come up in the order that I'm seeing them. But you can, just to let you guys know, if you are interested in the IBO Launch Academy, you can join. We are doing $25 off the IBO Launch Academy that will end on June 14th. So if you want to join the IBO Launch Academy, you can get $25 off. The IBO Launch Academy has over 33 hours worth of content in it. You don't need to watch every single last video in order to be able to launch and grow your call center, but the content is there for you to be able to go back and review it. You do get unlimited access to the course, as well as there are documents, PDFs. You get lifetime access to it. We do quarterly sessions, live sessions every single quarter. So there's a lot that you do get in it. You can read the full description of what you get on the website. So I could drop the link for the website, and then I will go ahead and continue to answer some questions here. So I will drop that. That way you guys can retrieve that to the chat if you would like to take a look. And I think everybody got that through the chat. Okay, so let me go back. Hold on, you guys are posting questions, so I'm trying to see. All right, so go back to where I left off. Okay, so for what on YouTube asks, how do you deal with agents who want to leave their current IBO for yours? So everybody deals with this particularly different. So I'm going to say personally for myself, I don't do that. I don't really get involved with that when people tell me that type of stuff. I don't take other people's agents or really guide or anything like that. So for me personally, I don't deal with it. I let them know to contact their own IBO. And if they just so happen to not have an IBO and then they want to go ahead and transfer over, that's totally fine. But I personally don't deal with it at all. Let's see. Okay, busy off of YouTube. Do you share all the details of your IBO when marketing or promoting on various sites, including fees, etc.? Do you find value in leaving that out in initial contact and sharing later in an interview for of applicants? So what we do is no matter where we actually market, our information is that it's on our website. And so on our website, when they're going through and filling out the application, it has on there, did you review the FAQs? So they will mark off that, yes, I reviewed the FAQs, or no, I didn't review the FAQs, but I will go back and review the FAQs. All of that information is in our FAQs. So when I typically get people that have applied, these people are not asking me questions like, I didn't know I had to pay for certification training. They're not asking me those type of questions because I'm redirecting them to a page that has that information. That is one of the things that we do require, that you have read the FAQs, as well as there's a video and everything on there that they can review, but that is definitely on there. The fee of having to pay for certification is on that page. Deborah asks, is there a list of times for each event? Yes, there is a list of times for each event. If you are registered for the event, it is inside the IBO Summit Facebook group. As well as if you're registered, you're getting a daily email with the schedule as well. But it is inside the IBO Summit Facebook group. So I can, if you guys are not registered, just in case you're not registered, because today is actually the last day that you can register. And the reason why we decided to cut it off is really just based off of accountability. We have been promoting this event and telling people about this event since the beginning of May. And so if you're not registered, then you may have just, missed it or whatnot. But I did post the link. So if you're not registered, then you will do that. All right, it's inside that group. I'm trying to go back to where I left off. Okay, so we have another question or statement. I don't have too many problems getting people to sign up under my IBO. I just have problems getting them to go ahead and select their program and start certification. What I would recommend is reaching out to those agents and seeing exactly what is their why. Why haven't they actually started certification? So I would go through and reach out to them. And sometimes you may have to go through, instead of just reaching out to them via email, sometimes you may just have to set aside some time and actually give them a call. So sometimes you may have to pick up the phone and call them. So I would set aside, maybe an hour a day, make a list of people that you need to call, and just to call and check on those people. We actually have part of our onboarding process is what we consider the first 30 days. The first 30 days, I feel like, is the most crucial part of the whole process, even though of course you'll have people that will sign up for classes and register, whatever. After that, and not everyone is going to sign up for a certification class. No one will ever tell you that that's going to happen. But the first 30 days is like the first most important 30 days that we make sure that we make as many contacts that we have with that individual. So we don't do interviews. So us personally do not do interviews. However, you can decide to do an interview style. That's totally fine and totally up to you. But what we do is after they go through, we do a welcome call. So after they are already registered, they get a welcome call about 2 days after they have gone through and joined our call center. During that point, when they get, well, let me just back up 1 second. So once they actually get finalized on our roster, they do get a welcome letter. They get a welcome letter via email. It actually has several different links to some PDFs. It also has a video inside of that welcome email. And then it also has a link to the new CSP orientation course. So I have built a course for our agents to go through and take, because what I found was I was not able to go through and host sessions, like for how to get started sessions, during times where people really wanted to be able to attend. And it's much easier if you can create something where people can do it on their own time. It's a very short course. It's about 30 to 45 minutes long, but I have them go through it. They take a quiz at the end to be sure that they have completed it. It helps me test their understanding, that they understand they have to pay for certification once again, and they understand our IBO fees and all of that type of information. So then what we do next is about 2 to 3 days later, I make a welcome call, or someone on my team makes a welcome call. And this is basically just to say, hey, we just want to officially welcome you to the team. I want to reach out to you personally to see if you have any questions. I see that you've completed, or I see that you haven't completed orientation. If you can go ahead and get that done as soon as possible, these are some of the opportunities that's on the Arise portal, blah, blah, blah. So we do that. Then they go into what's I consider is the first 30 days. So after I make that call, whether I speak with them or not, if I don't speak with them, I leave a voicemail. If I speak with them, awesome. I make notes. So you guys know, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I use Streak CRM. So I use Streak CRM. I make a note of the call that I called, whether I left a voicemail, whether I spoke with the person, I make note of what they said, and then I reschedule a call back to myself. So when I reschedule the call back to myself, it's typically 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, it comes up in my email to say, hey, you need to call such and such, and you need to do the second week follow-up to see if they have any questions or to see if they need any help getting into certification. So I make that call in 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks, I go through again, I notated whether I spoke with them, didn't speak with them. And then I make another call to them at the 4-week mark, which now brings them into 30 days. So at the 4-week mark, make another call to them. The call depends on if I spoke with them before on the second week. So if I spoke with them on the second week, depending on what they told me on the second week, depends on what I'm going to say to them on the 4th week. But typically you'll have things like, I don't have the equipment right now, but I'm going to get it in a week or two. So I might just follow up with them and say, hey, just call them back and see if you got your equipment, blah, 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 or if you had any questions. So that's simply what we do for our first 30-day process. But again, making those contacts to see exactly why they haven't. After that, they pretty much go into like this funnel with everyone else, which is they get contacts via email twice a month. So hopefully that was a mouthful, but hopefully that kind of helped. Let's see. Someone asks, is there a direct number or email to Arise for IBOs to help them outside of partner support? Some people say they have a number. I have a number for like Starmatic, but other than that, I do not have one. Okay, I'm just reading what you guys have. Okay, so another question that we have, and then we're going to wrap it up in about maybe 4 or 5 minutes, is do I have different types of screening methods that you use with interested applicants, and do you recommend more than one method? So I personally just use in terms of what's important. So what is important to me is, are they able to work more than 15 hours per week? Are they able to commit to the opportunity? Are they aware that they have to pay for certification class? Are they 18 years or older? Do they have any type of experience, like call center experience, customer service experience? All of these things are important to me. And so those are the things that I personally look for. And that's pretty much how, even in the application, that I kind of shuffle through those particular people. I don't do interviews. I personally don't do interviews. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with doing interviews. For people that do interviews, it's really to each his own. I personally just don't want to go through and just do a whole bunch of interviews. That's just me personally, because the types of questions that I will ask on an interview are the same questions that I have on the application form. So I really don't necessarily need to hear the person say it, because they already have, written those things to me. So I don't necessarily have to do that. So hopefully that kind of answered that question. Right. Yeah. So guys, the list of events, they are inside the Facebook group. They're right in the IBO Summit Facebook group. They're pinned right in my video at the top of that group. It's pinned right in that video. You can also go to the guides section. So if you go to the guide section in that particular group, they are also broken down day 1, day 2, and so on and so forth. So they are broken down there. So for today is going to be at 4 p.m. is going to be the pre-record of myself and Melissa's interview that we did, which is her journey to 160 plus servicing agents. That's going to be at 4 p.m. And then at 7 p.m., it is going to be Daniel. Daniel is going to be at 7 p.m. and I believe he's also going to be doing some live Q&A after that as well. So Daniel's going to be at 7 p.m. and he is going to be talking about elevating with equipment, overviewing the platform tech requirements. He's going to go over his company Work at Home Equipment Solutions, plus understanding the roles of Arise, IBOs, and CSPs. So that's going to be at 7 p.m. today. Now, you do want to be sure that you are inside of the Facebook group for that. I did drop the link to be able to register so you can get that automatic email. So you want to be sure that you check your email, because if you registered, you automatically get an email right after you registered for you to be able to confirm your registration and go inside that email to get the link to that group. So you want to be sure that you do that today, because Daniel's presentation will be inside of that group only. Okay. So it's not, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's his session is not going to come through YouTube. Now, Melissa's session that we're doing at 4 p.m., that one will be streamed through YouTube, but Daniel's session at 7 p.m. is going to be inside the group. So you want to be sure that you are inside the group. And mostly all the other presenters, I have a couple of their presentations, so those will stream out. Like Carrie's, which is on Thursday, hers will come through YouTube and stuff like that too. But if you want to be able to attend the full summit and get everybody's summit information, and you want to be able to be eligible for prizes later in the week, you want to be sure that you are participating and that you are inside of the group as well. Okay, so you can certainly watch it on YouTube for replays, but I still want you guys to be inside of the group so you can catch other people, because I don't want you guys to just watch me. I want you to watch other people as well too. Okay, let me see. I'm not sure what your question is. Anna says there are some people that have an IBO but don't know what to do. No one is calling them. They just register them. I'm not sure what that is. If you can maybe explain a little bit. Okay, so the next question that I see is from Kennedy Enterprises. So how do you present the IBO fee and them not being paid for certification? So the IBO fee, or your admin fee, whatever it is that you would like to call it, is pretty much for like your overhead costs. So I kind of let people know when I'm telling them about the IBO fee is, number one, explaining to them that we don't make money until we can get you making money. Sometimes that makes people feel better for some reason, to know that, all this work that we are actually going through and doing, like technically this work is for free. Like me helping you with registration, me doing a lot of other things, like all of this is actually for free until I can help you. So that's one way that I kind of go through and let people know that. But then also too, is for your overhead costs, is for your payroll, is for your systems, is for your marketing. All of this actually does cost. You do have to pay for these things. And that is part of what that IBO fee is for you to be able to pay for your business. It's kind of like any other business, except for with you, if you are one of the IBOs that has an IBO fee, like you have an upfront fee, is just upfront of how you make money. So for example, what I mean by that is you could go through and you can go to Walmart. Well, do you really know what Walmart is making off of each individual product? No, because you don't see there's any fee attached to it, but of course there's a markup of it, right? So their business is making money, and so does your business as well. Is just your business is making money by charging an upfront fee, something that is visible to them versus, well, some people take off of the rate of pay, which is not so such a visible way. But that's what I would let them know. Not being paid for certification training is merely because it's certification. You don't get paid typically for any type of certification. So I would just let them know just that. Now they can go through, there's certain things that they can go through and they can write off on their taxes and stuff like that. Like some of those fees that they get, they can go through and write off on their taxes. But other than that, that's kind of how I go through and explain it. And I can honestly say that I don't really have a lot of issues with that. I don't have a lot of issues when it comes to trying to go through and explain fees. All right, so we'll go on for about 2 more minutes. I just want to catch some of these guys that came through. Okay, someone asks, is it okay to ask the same questions on your application as the registration questions for a rise and onboard the agents yourself once they accept the job? Okay, so what I would recommend is when you're going through, and that's totally fine if you would like to do that to a certain extent. But what I would personally recommend is when you're going through and you're asking questions, let your questions mean something. Let your questions determine something. Let's not just ask questions just for the sake of asking them. Asking questions should be a way for you to be able to, this is how I always see when it comes to applications. Applications are used to be able to get and give information. You're asking questions to get information that you need, such as like their name, their email address, their phone number, because that's lead information. You need that information to obtain the lead, just in case you have to go back and get in contact with them, you will be able to go through and get that lead information, right? So that's a good question to ask. You need those questions. Other questions like, why do you want to work from home? Well, that's a pretty good question because that's kind of like a determining factor question. Or how many hours can you work? Can you do more than 15 hours or can you do less than 15 hours? Those are determining questions, because if someone says, okay, well, I can only do, like 10 hours a week. Well, then that's not enough because you need them to do at least 15 per most of the SOWs. So we want to go through and ask questions that actually mean something, not just things that are just random questions just to say we're just filling out some, we just have them filling out some information. So if there are questions on the registration that you feel are good questions for you to be able to ask your applicant and you need those questions because you're getting or giving information, then yeah, go ahead and do that. Even when it comes to when you're creating your applications, what I typically do is I may even do like an acknowledgement statement. Like, I understand that I have to pay for certification training or certification class. I'm giving information because I'm letting them know that, yes, you are going to have to pay for certification training. So when you think about applications, thinking about getting and giving information, but again, important information that you're actually going to use. Don't ask a whole bunch of questions that you're not even going to look at. In terms of onboarding agents yourself once they accept the job, like the position you mean, not necessarily the job, but if you mean by, I'm not sure what you mean by onboard agents, so I want to be sure of this. Do you mean actually registering them yourself? Because if you mean actually registering them yourself, I would say no. You want to allow agents to register themselves. They need to go through the steps themselves. They need to do the acknowledgements, fill the information in themselves. I wouldn't recommend that you go through and you start filling out questions for agents. So I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but if that's what you meant, that's what I would say. Yes, somebody says the recession quarter, it will be on YouTube. It will stay up here, so you will be able to see it. Zoe said that this is what I need. I need a flow chart to bring agents in. Yeah, a flow chart would actually be really good. What I did was I actually created a flow chart as well. So those type of things are good for creating processes. So when you go through and create a process, it's kind of good to create it so you can keep doing the same thing. So creating like an onboarding process. But yeah, creating some type of flow chart is excellent. Like I said, we have one ourselves, and matter of fact, if you guys give me 1 second, I might be able to show you really quickly. Where do I have this? All right, hold on 1 second. And here. All right, so you guys actually should be able to see if I can make it a little bit bigger. So this is a flow chart that I made. I made this in Canva. It's a CSP onboarding process flow chart. And stuff like this is pretty good because number one, it makes it easier for like when you're bringing on like an assistant, right? And this is actually why I made this. So this is the flow that we go through. And again, it's a repeatable process. So like you have like the start where a CSP submits application, then they go into the review application and send out registration steps as approved. Then we go through the registration to resend in registration steps if not complete within 2 days or make follow-up calls. And then we go into step 4, which is complete registration on Arise. And then we swing on down to step 5 where they're finalized on the Arise portal, send welcome letter. And then number 6, new CSP orientation and welcome call. So kind of like I was describing to you guys before, is just simply just put into a simple flow chart. So yeah, creating something like this, and it doesn't have to be all like this. You know, it doesn't have to be all like that. You could really just go through and just write it out if you want to go through and just write it out. All right. All right, so let's see here. All right, good that you liked the session. Let's see, Biz posted that. You're welcome, Shabria. Yeah, the rest of the week, I'm looking forward to the rest of the week too, guys. It's going to be great, 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 great. All right, let me see. All right, so what were some of the biggest challenges you faced or you see agents face when getting started? So I would say, if I had to think about one of the biggest challenges was probably probably just like anybody else, probably going through and getting people actually registered into class. So that might have been one of the first things initially, which was one of the biggest challenges. And like I said, to most people, that's still a huge challenge of getting people enrolled into class, because you can't make people get enrolled into class. Only thing that you really can do is to keep going, to keep marketing your business, keep recruiting for your business, and the rest will actually come. Have a goal in your mind of how many agents it is that you want to actually have working with you, and just to keep pushing forward. So kind of going over those challenges and not allowing that challenge to deter you, because there, like I mentioned earlier in the session, there are people out there that do want to work with you. It's really about making those connections and actually finding those people. If you stop, then you'll never find it. So that would probably be like the biggest, I guess, hurdle that most people have, that I see people have, that we all have. I don't really care about what anyone says. Most people do probably have that issue. So Zoe said, with your Streak CRM course, is there a way to assist with the flow and a new prospect? So I do one-on-one sessions. It's not really connected to the Streak CRM, because when I go through and I set up other people's Streak CRM systems, it's very difficult for me to set it up if you don't know what your flow is, because everyone's flow is different. And I always stress the fact that your processes don't have to be like my processes, right? Because everybody is different. They don't have to be the same. You don't have to do things exactly the way that I do them, because there is no just one right way. There are many, many different ways that you can actually do this. So I do one-on-one sessions to kind of help you understand a good process and kind of pull out of you what your processes are based off of what you're currently doing. But in terms of setting up the streak and that is a little bit something separate, because you do have to kind of understand your processes before you can start, setting up workflow. So hopefully that answered that for you. I'm not sure if that really did. All right, so this is going to be the last question, guys, and it's from Ashley Davis, and she says, do you suggest helping them with fees like background checks or certification? And my answer to this is going to be no, especially when it comes to background checks. I would never assist them with a background check, because that is something that, because once you start doing that, because that, especially that particular fee, background checks, that would really start pulling them into maybe saying that they were an employee because you paid for the background check. And if you paid for the background check, that may seem like they are an employee versus an independent contractor. So I definitely wouldn't pay for background checks. Certification costs, sometimes I know, like if you have vouchers, sometimes people can use vouchers for that if you're a premier IBOs. Or sometimes what we do is we do offer an incentive. So like every month, or at least every other month, we may offer an incentive for, like we call it a sponsorship. Like we say we'll sponsor 4 agents for particular classes if they want to accept that and they have to meet certain conditions. So we have done that. But in terms of background checks, I would say absolutely not, no background checks. And in certification, I would still make it where it's like a contest or something like that before you just do that, because you don't want people to think that you're going to just pay for everybody's certification, because you don't want to pay for everyone's certification, because what's going to happen is when they quit that certification class, you're not going to be too happy when they quit certification and you paid for certification, because I see people drop out of classes that they paid for. So if they pay for a class and they willing to drop out, they will darn sure drop out if you pay for the certification class. So I wouldn't pay for everyone's certification class. Like I said, I would give it as like some type of incentive, or do some type of drawing here and there for them to, you pay for certification class. So hopefully that helped. All right, so this is gonna be the last question, and it just has Facebook user, but what resources did you include on your website for your agents? Well, like I said before, we have our new CSP orientation course, which we do offer to our agents. We have what's called an agent enhancement course, which is a series of videos on almost anything that I could think of that has to do with Arise. And then we have just the traditional Arise documents that Arise provides. And then we do have like certain guides. So it could be tips for doing program assessments. It could be tips on equipment. I would say when you're trying to do guides and resources or provide resources to your agents, is every single last thing that, especially if you've serviced before, everything that you can think of, I would do a video on it, or I would make a resource for it. And it could be something so simple. It could be something simple like choosing hours in Starmatic. You would think people know how to do that. Arise has their own thing. A lot of times they show them in certification training, but why not go through and show your agents how to do it too from your perspective? So things like that, going over the equipment guide with them. You'll be surprised of how many people get that long equipment guide and they don't actually go through it. So doing some type of like quick 10-15 minute video going over the equipment guide could be very helpful. So whatever resources that you think that would be valuable or that you would have wanted. So if you have serviced in the past or you're servicing now, what is it that you would have wanted when you started? That's what I would provide to your agents, is whatever you think that would have helped you that maybe you didn't get, or maybe something that helped you that you did get and you would just recreate it for your own business. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys. So I appreciate you guys joining me on this session today. Again, go ahead, be sure to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share this video so others who are also interested in starting their Arise IBO business, they can get this information as well. So again, at 4 o'clock, we're going to have the recording of Melissa's and my interview. So 160 plus servicing agents. That will be at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. And then again, Daniel will be inside the IBO Summit Facebook group tonight at 7 p.m. to talk to you guys all about equipment. And I know that he is doing some Q&A, and I think he's going to be doing some prizes, but I'm not sure if that's going to be today or that's going to be, it might be tomorrow for tomorrow's session. But the list of the sessions are inside the group. If you're trying to get access to the group, when I get off the live with you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get everyone's access so you'll be able to get inside the group. And today would be the last day. So after tonight, it will be the last day that you can get inside the group. But again, you could still see some other sessions from YouTube, etc. The replays will be on YouTube as well for all of my sessions and all the sessions that I'm responsible for getting out to you guys. All right. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and we will see you guys later today.